ഫോട്ടോ
ഓക്കെ. So it can cool a little.
Chant Dakshinamurti. So first we do the dhyana slokas. Then Maunavyakya prakatita parabrahma tattvam yuvanam vairashishtante vasatrishiganaihi avrutam brahmanishtai Acharyendram karakalita chinmuttramanandamurtim swatma ramam uditavadanam dakshinamurtimide vatavitapi samipe bhumibhage nishannam sakalamunijananam Jnanadataramarat Tribhuvanagurumisham Dakshinamurtidevam Jananamaranadukkachedadaksham Namami Chitram Vadatarormule Vruddha Shishya Gururyuva Gurostu maunam vyakhyanam Shishyastu chinna samshayaha Nidhaye sarva vidyanam Vishaje bhavaroginam Guraye sarva lokanam Dakshinamurtaye namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha-jnanaigamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashandaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijandargyadam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Behi Vibhor Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevatvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivankuro Jagaditam Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitra Chitri Kritam Maya Viva Vijrambayatya Vimaha Yogi Vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmakamasat Kalparthagambhasade Sakshat Tattvamasiti Vedavachasa Yo Bodhayatyashritan यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपि चलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्धजटोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः या शक्तिविलासकल्पितमहा व्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्तदिवाकरेन्दुसदृशः मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रकरणोपसंहरणतो यो भूत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यप्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बाल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रतादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्वास्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तःस्फुरन्दं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामिसम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पितृपुत्राद्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जाग्रति वा य एष पुरुषः मायापरिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं दक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्बास्य निलोलिलुम्बरमहन्नाथो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् नान्यत्किञ्चन विद्यते विमर्शतां तस्मात् विभो तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदं यस्मादमुष्मिन्स्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानाच्च सङ्कीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितं स्यादीश्वरत्वं स्वतः सिद्ध्येतत्पुनरष्टधा परिणतम् ऐश्वर्यमव्याहतम् Have I taken this for you? No? I should take this. Shankaracharya's the best composition. Okay, let us read the third verse. आत्माह्याकाशवज्जीवैः घटाकाशैरिवोदितः घटादिवच्च सङ्घातैः जाता वेतन्निदर्शनम् आत्मा ह्याकाशवज्जीवैः घटाकाशैरिवोदितः घटादिवच्च सङ्घातैः जातः. Third verse, third chapter. So, Atma, now we have to see, Gaudapadacharya said, he will prove that Jiva Srishti Nishetha, that he will prove logically negation of Jiva Srishti. Then also he will prove logically creation of Srishti, world. Yuktya first, then Shrutya, both. So first topic is from verse number 3 to 9. So that is what we are seeing. Yuktya Jiva Srishti Nishetha. So negation of Jiva Srishti by logic, by using logic. So here he gives an example of Ghatakasha, Mahakasha. Ghatakasha means spot space, Mahakasha means total space. Now Atma Turiyam is comparable to Akasha, Mahakasham, and this Paramatma is seemingly born as Jivatma. How? Like Ghatakasha. Why it's not coming?
They want audio also. So I set up audio. We're recording.
Yeah. So Ghatakasha eva, like pot space seemingly born. Now when you say pot space is born, what is happening? Analyze that. Think about it. What is born? It is not the space, it is the pot. What is really born is the container, not the content. Gadadivaccha sanghataihi. Paramatma is born seemingly as the container also. Here total space is born as pot space also. Space is not born, only the pot is born. Ultimately, from space alone, everything is born. That is different. Space, air, fire, water, earth, pot, that sequence. So too, Paramatma is born in the form of body also. That he will come to that point later. Okay. Edat nidarshanam. This is the example, means akasha jatau, seeming creation of Jivatma. There is no real creation of Jivatma. Why? Because there is no difference between Jivatma and Paramatma. Like pot space and total space, there is no difference. Same way here also. That's why he says there is no real creation. If it is really created, then there is a problem. Tattvamasi Mahavakya will not valid. You are that, you cannot say. That thou art, you can't say. Because if they are two different things, Jiva is created and then Jiva should become one with the total. That means there are two entities one merging with the other. That is also not correct. So, but the Mahavakya is what? Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. So, there, you are that. The meaning can come only when both are one. Continuing, this much we saw last time. Now, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 verses are there to prove logically negation of Jiva's creation. Gadadishu pralineshu Gadakashadayo yatha Akashe sampraliyante Tattvat jiva ihatmani. Now the Deshu Gadakashadayo yatha Akashe sampraliyante Tattvat jiva ihatmani. In the verse 3, how Utpatti is a misconception is pointed out. Utpatti means creation. It is only a seeming creation but not real. Now he wants to talk about Jivatma Nashaha, death of Jivatma. That is also seeming. How? He says, Gadadishu pralineshu. When the container pot resolve or perish, Gata akashadayaha sampraliyante. The pot space also seemingly merges into akashe, means the total space. There is no real merging, but it looks as though, because our vision is on the pot. That's why. If our vision is on the space, then you will not see the difference. But our vision is on the pot. Try to understand merging. You use a verb which has no real meaning. There is not even an iota of change in the space. But still we use the word merging. Similarly, we say that Jnani has merged into Brahman. Morning class we dealt with that. Nishkarma Siddhi class. This one, it's a verb. Perceiver. Atma is a perceiver. It is a verb used. So whenever a verb is used, it is involving a modification action. So how can you say witness, Bhagavan, consciousness is perceiving? That means an action. But there Suresh Acharya said this verb we have to use helplessly to communicate. There is no real activity involved there. So that is what here Gaudapada also says. Tadvat, in the same way, Jiva or the enclosed consciousness, Atmani, Paramatmani into Paramatma, Jiva seemingly merges. So idea is drop the notion that I am separate and you have merged. No. Retain the notion you are separate, then you are a Jiva. That's the point. Now, Gaudapada want to explain the word Advaitam. which is given as a description of Turiyam in the 7th mantra of this Upanishad. Nanta Pratnyam Nahaviprashan. Don't forget that. That is very important verse. And the word Advaitam here technically means Karya Karana Vilakshanam. Karyam means effect and Karanam means cause. The effect and the cause both are in Dvaitam, as Karanam is the potential form of Karyam. Therefore, Karyam is Dvaitam, Karanam is also Dvaitam. Karyam means effect. Karanam means cause. Both are Dvaitam. We saw that yesterday, last class. Karanam means what? Deep sleep, vasanas. So, but the cause is, Karyam is potentially present in the cause. Therefore, it is called Dvaitam. Otherwise, in deep sleep, you say there is no Dvaitam. That is our experience, isn't it? Deep sleep, there is no duality. But potential duality is there, inherent in sleep. Why? Because when you get up, you say, I slept very well. I didn't know anything. Now, if both are Dvaitam, Karyam and Karanam both are Dvaitam, Gaudavadacharya want to say that Turiyam is Karya Karana Vilakshanam. Vilakshanam means other than both the Karya, other than effect and cause. Therefore, Gaudavacharya wants to establish that Turiyam Brahma is not Karanam at all. This is the point he wants to say. This is his famous Ajatavada. And to establish that, he wants to show that nothing has come out of Turiyam. Turiyam means Brahman, other word for Brahman. Because we are dealing with Onkara Shabda, so Onkaram, Chaturshpada, so Akara, Ukara, Makara, and Amatra, that is Turiyam. If anything originate from Turiyam, it will become Karanam. So, Turiya become Karanam. Then we will ask question. You know, lot of question will be there. Our intellect will ask question. If God is the cause for the creation, why did He create? What for He created? What was His motive behind it? All these things we have to establish. It is very difficult. Because anything you say, you get into trouble. But if you say it is a Leela, why should he? It is a sport. Then also you will say, why did he do that? For me to suffer. So that all these questions will be there. So here, this is the best what he didn't create. Means no creation arises out of Turiyam Brahma. And creation is divided into two, the Jiva and the Jagat. And therefore, Gaudavadacharya wants to show Jiva is not born out of Brahman, and Jagat also is not born out of Brahman. Jivatma is born out of Paramatma? No. Jagat is born out of Paramatma? No. And this alone he present in 4 stages, which we saw in our last class. Of these 4 items, we are in the first portion, 3 to 9, where he says Jivatma is not born out of Paramatma. So to convey that, he shows Ghatakasha, Mahakasha. Similarly, Jivatma is nothing but one and the same Paramatma. The all-pervading consciousness is called Paramatma, and the very same all-pervading Paramatma enclosed in the body is called Jivatma. This is intellectually you are appreciating, you are nodding your head, but to accept it, is very important to accept it. It's not a theory. It is not something that you have information gathered in your intellect. This is a fact. And that fact is appreciated, understood, recognized. Then you are a Jivan Mukta Purusha. So it is very simple, right? It's not that difficult, not complicated at all. That's why when the body is gone, Jivatma is seemingly gone. Really speaking, the Jivatma is neither born nor dead. Now 5 misconceptions are taken into consideration. First misconception, Utpatti, origin of Jivatma. Second one is disappearance of Jivatma. Utpatti, Samhara. Then various impurities of Jivatma, like Raga, Dvesha, Papam, Punyam, all these are third defect, misconception. Fourth misconception is Visheshaha, the individuality of Jivatma. I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Sannyasi, ityadi. Papi, Punyatma. So these are all Visheshaha. Fifth one is relationship between Jivatma and Paramatma. If they are not two, how can there be relations? A relation is possible only when there are two things. Jivatma and Paramatma one and the same. So there cannot be any relationship. All these misconception can be called as misconception only when we take the example of pot and space. Mahakasha, Gadakasha. This example. Even merging is a misconception. Without any event of merging, that is, merging means verb, taking place, the wrong usage of merger. When the pot is destroyed, I withdraw the word pot space. The change is not in the space, it is in my mouth. Later on he is going to say, Vacharampanam vikaro namadeya mrittigeteva satyam. This is his beautiful, famous postulate. Pot and clay. What is satyam? Clay is a satyam. And what is pot? Vacharampanam. It is in your word. Name and form. That's all. So what is this creation? Is nothing but name and form. Similarly, when a jnani attains liberation, we withdraw the word Jivatma. There is no real merger into Paramatma. This mistake is universal. When a mistake is universal, then it becomes right. Isn't it? Like sunrise and sunset. It is universal, right? The whole world wrongly uses these words, but nobody questions. Therefore, Urpatti Nasti Nashaha Nasti. Now we go to the third misconception. We did 4, no? Eh? 4th verse we did. 5th one. Huh? यथैकस्मिन् घटाकाशे रजो धूमादिभिर्युते न सर्वे संप्रयुज्यन्ते तत्त्वज्जीवा सुखादिभिः. यथैकस्मिन् घटाकाशे रजो धूमादिभिर्युते न सर्वे संप्रयुज्यन्ते तत्त्वज्जीवा सुखादिभिः. When a particular pot is sullied or impure, a person mistake it as the pot space is polluted. Mistake number 1. The foul smell belongs to the air. The dirt and the impurity belongs to the pot. Space does not have either impurity or foul smell. But what do? Commit a superimposition. We transfer from pot and air the qualities to this space and say pot space is polluted. And when we look into another pot where there is sambrani, incense or sandal paste, there is fragrance. Here also we commit a mistake. The mistake we commit here is that the space is fragrant and smoky. In fact, they belong to sandal paste and incense, not for space. Since one pot space has got foul smell and another one got good smell, there must be 2 different pot spaces. Because attributes are different, substances must be different. Pot spaces are different because their attributes are different. And I extend this because it is stated by Sankhya philosophers. They say all Jivatmas are different. That is their theory. Some Jivas are endowed with good attributes and they are blessed with good virtues like Daya, Santosham, etc. Noble souls. Some other Jivatmas are Duratmas with ignoble virtues. Therefore, we should consider Atmas must be different because attributes are different. Their argument. Sankhyans. Nirishwara Sankhyans, okay. Sankhyans also two. Chaishwara Sankhya, Nirishwara Sankhya. Both are Kapila. See. But it is one Kapila is different, another Kapila is different. One Kapila is Bhavatara of Bhagavan Vishnu in Bhagavatam, you see. But another Kapila is not avatar of Bhagavan because he doesn't believe in God. This is their theory. So, they say in Advaitam there is a big problem because all Jivatmas are one and the same. If all Jivatmas are one and the same, then if one Jiva becomes sorrowful, all Jivas experience that sorrow, isn't it? All Jivatmas are one. Then one person feels sorrowful. They're like a pre-K children, One child cries, the whole class cries loudly. Like that. So here also one jiva is sorrowful or he is angry or happy, or another, to extend that theory, one get moksha, everybody should get moksha. You don't have to do anything. You have to wait for somebody to get moksha. That is all. This is a theory. This is an argument. But the experience is different. As one jiva is sorrowful, the another one is happy. Therefore, jivatmas are different. That's their theory. Now, Gaudapadacharya says, when one jivatma is sorrowful, all other jivatmas need not be sorrowful. Because that one jivatma is sorrowful is itself is a misconception. Sorrow is not the attribute of the Atma. It is attribute of the Anatma. Anatma is the mind. When the mind is polluted, what do? Transfer the impurities of the mind and take Jivatma is sorrowful, and then we argue that if one Jivatma is sorrowful, all of them become sorrowful, etc. Now he gives an example. Even when one pot space is polluted, all pot spaces are not polluted. Because one pot space itself is not polluted. The pollution belongs to the air and the pot, not to the pot space. Therefore, there is only one all-pervading, unpolluted space. So you can take the example of bulb also. If one bulb fuses, it doesn't mean all bulb will fuse. Electricity is one, isn't it? So also Paramatma is one, blessing all pots. In one pot, the quality of pot is different. Another pot, the quality of pot is different. But that doesn't affect the space. Yatha, just as ekasmin gadakashe, in one pot space, this is the fifth mantra, rajo dhumadhiparyute, contaminated with dust, smoke, etc. Suppose one pot space is contaminated with dust, smoke, etc. All other pot spaces are not contaminated. Na sarve samprayujyante. Not because they are many and different. Why? Because one pot space itself is really not contaminated. Space itself is not contaminated. So whether one pot is clean, another pot is polluted, it doesn't affect the space. Tadvad. The same way, when one Jivatma is polluted with papam, all other Jivatmas are not polluted. Because the one Atma in all the bodies never get contaminated. Sukhadibihi, happiness, etc. Jivatma is not polluted by happiness or sorrow. Now we wonder, how does he say that? Happiness that we know is the experiential, temporary happiness which takes place in the mind. That happiness not real. It is a potential sorrow. Ehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkayonaya evate atyantavantak kaunteya nateshu ramate bhutaha. Bhagavan said in Gita, Ehi samsparshaja bhogaha. There is another word similar. Matras parshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukhadukkadaha agamapayino anityaha tam tititshasva bharata. Same verse here in 18th chapter. That one is in second chapter. This one is in 18th chapter. Ehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkhayonaya evate. All bhogas, enjoyment, which is samsparshaja bhogaha, which is born of sparsha, touch. So matra sparshastu kaunteya. That touch of sense objects with sense organs, there rises sukham, dukkham, mishram, ityadi, etc. They are all, even if happiness, it is dukkha yoni, he says. It is dukkham only. Why? Because adyantavantak kaunteya. There is a beginning, there is an end. Therefore, it is subject to time. When it is beginning, you are happy. When it ends, you are sorrowful. So, nateshu ramate bhutaha. Therefore, Buddha, wise people, they never revel in it. Anitya Sugam will lead to more misery. Vedanta looks upon the worldly happiness also as a pollution. Until we discover Atmananda, you are allowed to seek pleasure outside in a dharmic way. Gaudapada Acharya says, even though Sukham also is a pollution in the Atma. Sukham is Satguna Janyam. Dukkham is Rajoguna Janyam. Moha is Tamoguna Janyam. Whereas Atmananda do not belong to Sattva Rajas Tamas. It belongs to Nirguna Chaitanyam. Atmananda do not belong to Sattva Rajas Tamas. Because generally say when your Sattva Guna is predominant, you become happy. But you have to go beyond that. That is Atma Sukham. With this third misconception, namely Jivatma is associated with impurities, also over. Now we come to the fourth misconception. What is that? The pot space has got a distinct individuality. Rupakarya samakhyascha vidyante tatra tatra vai. आकाशस्य न भेदोऽस्ति तत्त्वजीवेषु निर्णयः. That pot space has got a distinct individuality which differentiate the pot space from the room space. Now, this is the misconception that it has an individuality. Now, individuality is also threefold: Nama, Rupa and Karma. Nama Vishesha, one is called pot space and the other is called room space. Rupam, shape or volume. Room space is small, pot space is small, need bigger space in the room, ityadi. Vedanta says there is no space within the room. It is a wrong expression. No wall can divide the space. The wall itself is in space. That's why ghost and all that, they can come through wall. Because they are subtler than space. That's why. Any attribute or name belongs to gross body or subtle body or causal body. No attribute belongs to Paramatma. Therefore, he says, Rupa, Karya, Samavyascha, Samavyascha, Samakyacha, Samakyacha, Rupa, Karyam, Samakyacha, form, Rupa, Karyam, form or volume, etc. Karyam, function, Samakhya, name, etc. Yeah, Samakhya, name, etc. Tatra tatra bhidyante, different. These nama rupa bheda do not belongs to Atma. Akashasya na bhetaha asti. There is no difference in space. In fact, space does not do anything at all. Tadvat, so too, jiveshu nirnayaha. There are not many jivas. One Paramatma itself is all jivatma. Now, how to become Paramatma? Somebody said you have to remove all impurities to become Paramatma. The only impurity is the misconception that I am impure. Atma has no impurity and that Atma is me. Drop the idea of impurity, papa, punya, etc. Now, these are all very dangerous statements to say. That's why Shankaracharya said in this Navana Shatakam, na punyam, na papam, na dukkham, na sukham, mukyam, na mantro, na jati. So all these are from here only. Na punyam, na papam, for kiskya? Aham Atma, I am that Paramatma. For me there is no punyam, papam. Drop the idea of impurity. The space in the spittoon and the space in the Ganga Kalasham, Ganga Kalasham pot, both are the same. Space is same. Since space is not touched by both, it is not affected by spittoon or holy water. Sunlight reflected in the Ganges, sacred. The same sun is reflected in a ditch, pool of water. What is the difference for sun? Sun is not affected by both. Neither holiness is attributed nor impurity is attributed. That is the idea here. Seventh one. Nakashasya gatakasho vikaravayavau yatha naivatmanas sada jivaha vikaravayavau tatha. Katakashaha vikaravayavau yatha naivatmanas sada jivaha vikaravayavau tatha. Here Gaudapada Acharya talking about the misconception between Jivatma and Paramatma relationship. Earlier it was individuality, now it is relationship. One of the important topic discussed in Sankhyan philosophy, Purvamimamsa. Purvamimamsa means what? Karmakanda. Vaisheshika and Visishtadvaitam. Dvaitam. These are all schools of thought standing against Vedanta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth one is Vedanta. In all philosophies, one crucial question is, what is the relationship between Jiva and Paramatma? Jivatma and Paramatma. Not only they ask question, but they come to a conclusion also. Some people strongly argue that the Jivatma is a created being. Therefore, a product and Paramatma is a creator. Therefore, the relationship is Karya Karana Sambandha. Cause-effect relationship. There is another group like Visishtadvaita. They say Jivatma is not a product of Paramatma, but Jivatma is part of Paramatma. Ramanujam, Visishtadvaita, they are. The Hare Krishna people are also Visishtadvaita followers. This is also another misconception, like talking about a relationship between pot space and total space. What is the relationship? You cannot say pot space is a product of total space. There is only a creation of pot, not the space. Therefore, karya karana sambandha is a misconception in the case of pot space and total space. Now the other group, pot space is part of total space. Looks okay. Like Vishishtadvaita, they are part of the total. Looks okay. We may think this way, wrong. Why? It is not the space is in the pot, but the pot is in space. So that's why consciousness not in the body. Body is in consciousness. That's a difference, a lot of difference. Otherwise, we will be seeking consciousness within the body, closing your eyes and searching mentally where is the consciousness. You will never find it. Now, okay. Now what happened? But pot is in space. Therefore, pot space cannot be part of the total space, as space is indivisible. See the problem in that theory? Because Vedanta is to be understood very well. Then the concepts will not confuse you. Otherwise it will confuse. What is wrong in telling that you are part of the Lord? See, in order to become part of the Lord has to become what? Part. Bhagavan, Brahman is not divisible. It is indivisible. You can't divide. Space, can you divide? You can't. So same way, so you cannot be part of it. So part theory also is negated here. Even before the creation of the pot space, total space was there. You can say pot space is a part of total space only if space can have parts. You can talk about parts only when a thing is assembled together. Then you can dismantle parts. Similarly, you cannot say about pot space and total space, it can neither be united nor parted. Therefore, Gaudapadacharya says, Gadakasha, pot space, na vikara, not a product. Akashasya, total space. Similarly, na avayavau, not a part. Tatha, in the same way, I, the Jivatma, Naiva, I am never born, I have no date of birth. Atmanaha Paramatma Navikaraha, neither a product. So, you don't have to celebrate your birthday. No birthday of celebration. Atma is not born. What is born is only body. Fifth misconception is also over. Jivatma is not born out of Paramatma. Therefore, Paramatma is not a Karanam of Jivatma. Okay. So this ego we talk about is not a thread. It's not a threat. If you understood ego is nothing but Paramatma, then ego is not a problem. Ego is misunderstood as separate from Paramatma, then ego gives you problem. Especially when you are dealing with others. See, you will not see your ego. You will see always others' ego, isn't it? Huh? But when that ego is expressing something, let us say he is criticizing you. What we have to understand, Paramatma is criticizing me. Because my defects I do not understand. The other person may be able to recognize my defects, and he is telling me that. So I should take it as a blessing. Then you see, you will not react, and that person will also feel miserable. This person is not reacting. He wanted you to react. He doesn't react. Then he feels miserable. So this to disarm that person, this is the best method. Our Gurudev used to say that when somebody criticizes you, you start thinking how that Paramatma in him, making him speak like this. Your thought, you direct like that, then you will not react. You think it is difficult? No, it's not. Practice, see, it will come. It will come. Then you see the joy of living. Otherwise, why did he say that? Why did he say this? It goes on in the mind. Continuing. Yatha bhavati balanam gaganam malinam malaihi tatha bhavatya buddhanam atma pimalino malaihi. This verse should be read with verse number 5, because in the 5th verse Gaudapada made a compromise statement which he rectified here. What is that? There he said, even when one pot space is polluted, all other pot spaces are not polluted. In that statement there is a compromise. Even when one pot space is polluted means he seems to agree that the pot space can be polluted. He corrects that here saying, even when the pot space is polluted from the vision of the ignorant person, is added here. The other pot spaces are not polluted means all spaces are not polluted. Similarly, even when one Jivatma is impure, all other Jivatmas are not impure. The impurity is for the ignorant people. Balanam, only for the ignorant people or children or illiterate one. Gaganam, the space, malaihi bhavati, become polluted. Only in the vision of the ignorant space is polluted. The truth is, the pollution belonging to the container is falsely transferred to the space in the pot. This alone is called superimposition or false transference. All the problems that I claim for myself is due to this false transference to I, the subject. When watching the movie, the sorrow of the hero is transferred to me, isn't it? All the emotions we go through because identifying with the heroine or hero. All the problem that I claim for myself is due to this false transference to I, the subject. Tatha, in the same way, abuddhanam, the ignorant people, atmabhi malinaha, atma appears to be contaminated. With what? With sanjita karma, prarabdha karma. These are malaihi, various types of impurities. In fact, all jivas are full, complete. They are Paramatma. Satchidananda Swarupa. See, what a relief, huh? We thought that we are papis, mahapapis and all that. Nothing. Okay, stop here. Tuesday we have a class?
Yes. Are you able to take some?
Eh?
You can take, because Thursday you have, Friday you have
Yeah, camp.
camp. So okay, Tuesday class,
Thanksgiving is Thursday, right?
but camp is from
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah. So turkey eating.
Tuesday class,
Chikala.
following on the last Tuesday of November, நீங்க எடுக்கிறதா somebody
Give it to her. She is doing some Upadesar or something. Let her continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyade Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.